Ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, welcome again to the Abundant Way Ministries Tuesday night empowerment series. Tonight, we are going to go into a new series, and this series is all about what?
It's empowerment of, what do you say, poverty?
Yeah, overcoming
Poverty, and bringing hope and transformation.
Yeah.
This month.
You told me that we were going to be telling stories about hope.
Stories. We storytelling. This month.
So this October is empowerment, overcoming poverty.
Yes.
And you guys have heard us talk about poverty before. And this is a great segment into what we're going to be talking about today. Mm-hmm. Because poverty, my brothers and sisters, is not all about money. Mm-hmm. So we can experience states of poverty in our mind, in our spirit, in our relationships, in our health.
Yeah.
And tonight we're going to be talking about a thing that ties into for the month of October, which is domestic violence. October is Domestic Violence Awareness Month. Mm-hmm. And when we looked at what our schedule was for the month of October, and the fact that October is also Domestic Violence Awareness Month, we realized right away that the two are connected. Because when we talk about overcoming poverty, mm-hmm. one of the most detrimental states of poverty that we can be in is the poverty of low self-esteem, is the poverty of self-esteem. Mm-hmm. And we're going to go into a discussion. Melly Boo is going to be leading this discussion today on domestic violence. And you're going to see how self-esteem contributes to how we sometimes stay in bad relationships longer than we really need to, mm-hmm. right? And so with that being said, without further ado, I'm going to...
The intro?
Yeah, that's my intro.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah. This is going to be good. I know this is going to be good.
Oh, gosh.
Well, without further ado, I mean, it's serious.
It is serious.
Right? But hopefully we can bring light to a heavy situation. Mm-hmm. It's nothing to be laughed at, but we can still have joy. We can mm-hmm. still smile. There's always a silver lining behind the cloud of doubt, because there is restoration.
There is restoration.
Right? There is hope. Mm-hmm. There is healing. Mm-hmm. Right? So that's what we're going to be talking about today.
Right.
So today I'm not going to do as much talking unless you make me. So without further ado,
I'm sure I will.
Yeah, take it away.
Well, thank you, babe. Again, this is not a fun topic, so to speak, mm-hmm. but it is an empowering topic because you are looking at an overcomer, a survivor of domestic violence, mm-hmm. Which I endured for 14 years of my life. Mm-hmm. But not only that, the title of our empowerment session this evening, From Brokenness to Abundance. And sometimes things happen to us because of the environment we were raised in, the environment we are tied to, and we see a cycle. Mm-hmm. So domestic violence ran through my family.
Hmm.
You know, my mother went through it.
Mm-hmm.
I saw it. Mainly, I saw it on my mom's side.
Mm-hmm.
You know, aunts and things of that nature. And so that is, for me, is a sign of a generational curse,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so I guess God used me as the example to break that curse,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Hey, Daddy.
Hey, Daddy. So it is again, it's not a fun topic, but again, like you said, you're able to overcome.
Mm-hmm.
You're able to survive. There is hope. There is transformation from brokenness to abundance. Because look at me.
Look at you now. Huh?
Look at me now. I'll go into, the story, but I looked up the statistics for domestic violence in the United States. It's just, current statistics. And it says 1 in 3 women and 1 in 4 men experience domestic violence in their lifetime. Hey, Robin. So when we hear about domestic violence, it's not just about women. Women are not the only people that experience or go through domestic violence. Men, there are men out there that are that goes through the same thing.
Mm-hmm. You know what? Let's pause right there, because that's so absolutely true. I think because the man is in a relationship is often seen as the stronger person and physically the bigger person in most cases. When there's a domestic violence situation, the assumption is that the man is the aggressor. But there are many cases where the man is not the aggressor. But then when he does like defend himself, let's say the woman is the aggressor and is always. So that's when we get into domestic violence, right? When it's a consistent, it's a consistent thing. And if the woman is always the aggressor and the man defends himself, whatever happens, it really tends to fall on the man most times.
Yeah.
Right.
Unfortunately.
Yeah.
It does. But if there has been a paper trail, or, constant calls to the police, and they have seen a pattern, a background, then it'll show them that it's not the man, it's the woman, especially if he's called.
Or it'll show who it is. I think that's where we have to we have to speak from when we talk about domestic violence. We shouldn't talk with an assumption that it's one or the other. So you're right. So there's oftentimes an aggressor, and when it's consistent and what's the word I'm looking for? Very, I'll say violent. I'm really thinking about another word, but to the point where the person who is at the receiving end of that aggression has to call the authorities, call the police, and it's happening so often that there is a trail being created. You're absolutely right. Then you're in a domestic violence situation. The crazy thing, though, is when you look at how long that paper trail is.
The other crazy part is if there is a paper trail.
That's a good one. If there is a paper trail at all, and then how long that paper trail is. And the reason why I say that is because I'm really getting to the point where some people stay in domestic violence situations much longer than they really need to. And they let that paper trail keep growing and growing and growing. but never get out of the situation.
Yeah, because there is a lack of calls or reporting,
Mm-hmm.
so to speak. There is a lack in that because of fear.
Mm-hmm.
Because if the aggressor is the breadwinner,
Mm-hmm.
the moneymaker, the other person, the receiver
Mm-hmm.
of the aggression, feels like they're stuck.
Mm-hmm.
They have no place to go. Especially if children are involved.
Mm-hmm.
So they don't want to uproot the children
Right.
from their home, their stable homes, because it's for the children. They're in a stable home.
Uh-huh.
Roof overhead, food to eat, and all that.
Right.
They have that. They don't want to change that. So they have a fear of like, what am I going to do?
Right.
Where am I going to go? How am I going to take care of my kids?
Mm-hmm.
And there's also the embarrassment part.
Right.
They don't want people to know that this is what they're going through.
Mm-hmm.
They don't want to be seen like that. So a lot of times they walk around with the mask on.
Mm-hmm.
And I did that for 14 years in church every Sunday with my mask on because I didn't want people to know. And one of my girlfriends, actually, she found out and she said, "Why didn't you say anything?" And I was like, I didn't want anybody to know. This was my issue, my deal, and I guess, there may be the fear of, if I tell someone, then I'm going to make it worse. Right. So you have a lot of those factors going on with that, which will result in not reporting anything, not saying anything, not saying calling police or anything like that.
So you got fear of not being able to support yourself and your children without this person. And then you've got the fear of embarrassment. Like, if people knew what I was going through, then what would they say about me? Okay.
Yep. It says there 10 million people are affected by domestic violence each year. These are just some statistics that I found. U.S. domestic violence hotlines receive over 20,000 calls on a typical day.
How many?
20,000.
20,000 calls
a day. One day. Victims lose 8 million days of paid work annually due to domestic violence. Because they can't go to work. If they're, the abuse is physical. But yeah, visible. But what I think the other part of domestic violence, when we hear that, we only think about the physical part of it. But there is a such thing as being verbally abused. If you're constantly being demeaned and talked down and cursed out, and you're not this and you're never that, and blah, these kind of words, that's a form of domestic violence. So it's not always physical, it is verbal. There's a such thing as verbal abuse. So what we want to do tonight is, I don't want to dwell on the bad stuff. I don't want to dwell on the bad stuff because it is hard. It is very hard. And going back to a comment that you made about the leaving. Why do you stay so long? Why is there such a long paper trail? Again, it's all because, the fear, but also it's a part of not knowing who you are.
Right.
not knowing your value, not believing in yourself.
Mm.
So there's that part of the self-esteem
Mm-hmm.
that you have none. And I won't even say it's low self-esteem. You have no
Mm-hmm.
self-esteem, because if you think that this is right, or if you think that this is how relationships go, and you don't value, or you don't really understand or know who you are and whose you are, nothing's going to change.
Mm-hmm. But I hear two things. One is, you mentioned earlier, you saw it when you were growing up,
Mm-hmm.
right? So it became, in your mind, a norm,
Yeah.
right? So,
And I won't say it became a norm. I saw it, but I knew it wasn't right.
mm-hmm.
Deep down, I knew it wasn't right. But when I started experiencing, like, okay, well,
Mm-hmm.
my mom did, my grandmother did, my aunt did. So I guess, just thinking back during that time, like, okay, if they went through it, then I got to go through it, right? It's only afterwards, and when I thought about everything that I went through, and I questioned God about it. It's like, why me?
Mm-hmm.
Why did I have to take this this cross? Why did I have to bear this one?
Mm-hmm.
And He showed me. He's like, this is the calling I put on you.
Mm.
This is your assignment.
Why is that? Why would you say that?
I don't know, because it's like, now it's like somehow, some way, I'm always attracted to someone
Mm-hmm.
that's either been through domestic violence or getting out of a situation of domestic violence. There's always somewhere there's a connection.
Mm-hmm.
I'm always connected with somebody that has gone through domestic violence, and I'm able to share
Mm-hmm.
the story. And I've been told time and time again, it's like, tell your story.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And it's got to be hard to tell that story, right?
It's hard. It may be hard from in the beginning,
Mm-hmm.
but now, because I have overcome, I have done two things. I have overcome and I have forgave.
Okay.
So it's not hard.
Yeah, forgiven.
I have forgiven.
So how do you feel?
Did I say that?
You did.
Oh my God. That's not a word.
It's a word, but then
I didn't use the right context.
Right.
Okay, never mind.
How do you feel? How does that work out when there's other people involved that might be affected by your story, by you telling your story? So your children are still involved. They're probably on Facebook right now. Maybe your ex-husband might see the video. Mm-hmm. How do you feel about telling that story publicly now? Say 14 years later.
Well, it's been longer than that, but
yeah.
I don't.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I don't. Because I've had the conversation with the kids. I mean, they've seen it, they saw it,
mm-hmm.
they lived through it.
Mm-hmm.
So, but he did a bad thing. But it's not about him.
Mm-hmm.
So I push him aside. Mm-hmm. I don't dwell on him. Mm-hmm. Again, my assignment is to help other women, mm-hmm. That, again, may be going through or has gone through, and it's helped to empower them to build their self-esteem back up, give them mm-hmm. the hope and encouragement that you got out. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. You're out of that situation. Now this is what you need to do to work on you.
Okay, let's do this, because we'll get to that empowerment piece, mm-hmm. because I do recognize that a big part of why people stay in situations like that is because they fear they out this person, mm-hmm. Financially, mm-hmm. or whatever. So they stay thinking that this is the best I can do. But what before we go there, though, you were in that situation. I think you were in that situation for 14 years, and you came out of the situation. But how do we know where the healing starts?
For me, again, it's the forgiveness. So I prayed and I asked God to help me forgive him, because sometimes the aggressor is something wrong with them. It's something that is affecting them to feel that this is the only way they can deal with whatever it is that they're dealing with. So once I did that, and once I started working on myself, and God pushed me and showed me who I am and who he created me to be, and the more my self-esteem built up, and I was able to like, okay, I know me now. So, if ever I came across somebody else that was trying to go the same route I just came from, because now I know the signs. Did I know the signs before? I did. I was young. Again, young, and just living through it from the generational piece of it.
Do you think, let me ask a question like this. What do you think about professional counseling and therapy in addition to, because it sounds like for you, your healing came spiritually, like probably in your relationship with the church and with God. But do you think that professional counseling and therapy would also help in that healing?
Absolutely. Definitely will. For me, I don't know why I didn't do professional counseling, anything like that. I guess I thought that I didn't need it.
Because it costs a lot of money.
It does, especially if you don't have insurance, or if your insurance don't. But I tell you, I have, if it had not been for my sister, so you've got situations where people think that if they leave, they don't have a place to go. But thank God for my sister, that if I needed to leave, I had a place to go. I would never be. So that fear of not being able to leave was not an issue for me. I was the breadwinner. I was making the money in the house. So that wasn't an issue for me. My issue really was all about me as a woman, not knowing my value.
Not because you said that you were the breadwinner, that wasn't the issue, because being that person, you could have. Now you used the word left, and I'm gonna challenge you on that word. You got away, but you didn't leave, and the reason you didn't leave is because of the self-esteem that you were talking about, and that's what happens with a lot of people. We get away, but then we go back.
Yeah.
We get away from the act of violence, but we never leave the situation.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and then I'm sure people like, well, if you got away, why didn't you stay away? Well, again, I had the kids, had school, so I'm uprooting them from their stability, and so thinking about them, and then one point I had to say, you know what, they just gonna have to be inconvenienced until I get all of us into a safe space. So I had to start thinking, especially as they got older, I had to start thinking about them. Like, this is not healthy for them. So it became less about me and more about them. But
do you think it was healthy for them to stay in that situation?
No, It was not. But I'm hoping, and I'm about 98% sure that them seeing me go through that broke that curse.
That's deep. Okay.
Seeing me go through that broke that curse because they now see what a healthy relationship look like versus to what the first relationship was.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So you. This is the interview. It became an interview.
Became an interview.
We didn't even plan
We
that.
did not.
I'm really interested in your story, and I'm interested in how we heal and how we overcome. It's interesting, and we've been kind of alluding to it, how empowerment plays a part in that healing and restoration, right? And again, just like poverty is not all about money, neither is empowerment all about money. It plays a big role in it, but empowerment first starts in the mind, right? First, it's like something inside of you says, I see and understand where I am currently, and if I don't like it, I can change it. That's where empowerment starts. Right.
You have to get to that point, though.
You have to get to that point. It's like a muscle. Like you have to build yourself up to the point where I can change this. I can get out of this situation. I can change my situation. I can overcome my situation. In the mind, it starts. What pushes us to that place of empowerment? Sometimes it's negative things, unfortunately. Like sometimes a person gets pushed to the point where their back is against the wall.
Yeah, no other choice.
Not just in domestic violence situation. Unfortunately, this is a lot of times how people become empowered in general areas in their life. Financially, for example, same thing. People who have grown up in poverty and have become accustomed to it, it is their norm because that's all they've seen. At some point, a person, because you can be in a community where that's the reality for the whole community.
Yeah.
But individually, something happens in a person's mind and their spirit that says, you know what, I can't do this anymore.
That's how it happened for me. Sitting on the couch. This is when Tyler Perry was first doing his Medea plays, and they were on cassette. And we were on the couch watching one of the. I forgot which play it is, but it's one of the plays.
You said cassette.
Cassette. I mean the VHS tape.
Oh my goodness.
Cassette tape. That's the thing. It don't exist.
Anyway, have a VCR.
You had a VCR. Yes. And it was watching one of his plays, and I think it's Medea's Class Reunion. I think that was the name of it. But it was a scene in there because one of the characters was going through domestic violence in that play. And it was one of the scenes in there where Medea was talking to him. I think it was Cheryl Riley. I think that's Pepsi Riley. That's her name. Was the character that's going through domestic violence. And she was talking to her, and the things that she was telling her, it was like I was sitting there, and all of a sudden, it was like a light bulb click. Somebody flipped the switch, and I flipped my mind. And when I did that, and I started doing things different and started reacting different, I became the crazy one.
Interesting.
Yeah. I became the crazy one. So it's like, no. And when I start taking control over me,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, the tables turned.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it all happened in my mind.
Over a Medea play.
I was sitting there watching a Medea play. I was watching a Medea play, and clear I was 35.
Mm.
Yeah, I was 35 watching that play.
Well, thank God for Medea.
Yeah.
Thank you, Tyler.
Thank you, Tyler. Because that's what happened. That's what happened.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So kind of going into that empowerment thing. So we do understand that in a lot of cases, not in all cases, but in many cases, one person feels like they cannot leave that relationship or that situation or that environment because they can't afford to,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because it's going to cost you something to leave.
Yep.
And so one of the things that you and I had talked about when we started the Abundant Way Ministries is having a segment for domestic violence, because that's part of your story.
Yeah.
And my whole thing is about empowerment, economic empowerment. And we started talking about how do those two things have anything to do with each other at all.
Mm-hmm.
And here's where they intersect. Because if we can empower victims, financially and otherwise, maybe they will get the mental strength and the mental fortitude to say, you know what, I can not only get away, but I can leave.
Mm-hmm. Yep. It was, talking with my sisters and my two our two best friends. We actually talked about this, and my sister's like, I could tell you all day to leave. I could tell you all day, this isn't right, this isn't healthy, this is not how a relationship should be. She said, but you had to make the choice. And so when she told me that, I was like, you're absolutely right. I said, because I saw healthy relationships in her and my brother-in-law marriage. I saw it in my two best friends, their marriages. I was surrounded by it. And you would think that would have, like, okay, yeah, this ain't right, I need to leave this. But no, it had to start within. I had to face the fact that I can do this. I had to tell myself that, because just from them telling me, if I didn't believe it, it still wouldn't work.
Right.
So I had to push myself. I had to get in the Word, and I had to pray with God. And like, okay, I always look at that situation. I kind of put it into perspective with Job. With him, I mean, everything he went through, it's like, enough is enough.
Right.
When is this going to end? Okay, release me.
Right.
And I think that helped me also. But getting into my Word, because I tell you, I had to do that on my own, because the church that I was going to at the time, and I told my pastor at the time that I was going through this. And he told me to stick it out.
To stick it out.
In so many words. So it's not, listen, again, because I don't know what it was. I don't know if you're going, the Bible say, you're not supposed to divorce, anything like, listen, if your life depends on it, or anybody that you're connected with, life depends on it. If this is not right and it's not healthy, God don't want you in no situation that is not pleasing to him.
Right.
He's not going to set you up and put you in situations where it's going to destroy you.
Right.
That's not the God we serve. So that's why I said it had to be an assignment.
Well, maybe not an assignment. I can't speak for God, but maybe it was just a bad situation.
It could have been a bad situation.
Right. Maybe,
it may have been a teaching situation. Maybe, I don't know.
And we can learn from bad situations.
Yes.
Right. And it could be that situation did prepare you to be able to help other women who are going through the similar situation because you've been through it. We always should try to find the silver lining, right? And how we can turn lemons into lemonade. But sometimes I think, like you said, whatever brought you two together, right? You have to and this is why I think counseling and therapy plays a great part, because if your pastor, the best advice he can give you is stick it out, not knowing how bad the situation might be. It could be a life or death situation. It could be a situation where the next time he saw you, he was actually doing your eulogy, right? So sometimes we can't just rely on the church and the pastor to give us guidance in those situations, because we don't know what their background is. But it seems to me that we can find hope. You would think that you can find hope at the church, right? Or you would hope that you can find hope at the church,
right?
But sometimes church and God are not synonymous. And so you have to find God in other places, like professional counseling and therapy and Tyler Perry. And I'm saying that jokingly, but because that was the thing, that something about that show, that play, clicked in your mind and said, you know what? I don't have to stay in this situation. I don't have to stick it out. Something is quite dysfunctional about this thing. And so now we begin to find hope in other places, right? So we're talking about hope, healing, and restoration. And it's interesting that your hope didn't come from the church. It came from a play that you were watching. It actually came from other relationships that you were surrounded by, that at the time you probably didn't recognize that you could have that too. You weren't sentenced to this. Right. And that's why I try to pull you away from saying that it was an assignment by God, because that sounds like a sentence. Like he made you be in this situation. And because guess what? If we think like that, then the pastor is right. Stick it out. And maybe the pastor wasn't right, and maybe it wasn't an assignment, but guess what? You found hope, you found healing, and now you're finding restoration. And I say finding because it seems to me that you can't heal and restore overnight from something that you endured for decades.
No, it does take time. But for me, now I'm, again, because you asked, is it harder to talk about it? Usually when you are still, when a situation is still,
it still has you,
it's hard to talk about it.
Right.
But I know for certain that has been broken. And that's why I like our theme, from brokenness to abundance. Because once that broke off of me, I was able to do, my life started doing this. And God was bringing me through this, and He's taking me through that. And, the tie, really was sealed when the divorce happened. And I never would get the divorce. Had the paperwork, had it all filled out, but it was like I couldn't afford it.
Couldn't afford it. And did you think that divorce meant failure?
Probably. Because I'm sure a lot of them think that. would think that if they got away or left and they failed at their relationship, right? And who wants to be a failure? That will weigh on your self-esteem as well,
right? Because part of it feels like you're admitting that I don't want to say I picked the wrong person, right? And so if I leave, then that's really admitting that. And then I can't leave now because I done held that lie up this long. The lie that ain't nothing wrong. I held that lie up too long. So every incident means I gotta hide it, sweep it under the rug.
You said the word. You said the word lie. So this whole period is a lie. This whole part of your life is a lie. Because again, you're walking around with this mask on because nobody knows what you're going through. Nobody knows what's happening behind closed doors, right? So you don't want to be the liar or seem like this was all for what? I just wasted all this time.
Right. That's interesting. I'm going to switch gears just a little bit, just to use this as an example. Remember when I started talking about how I first got into real estate? The man said, "You're going to make mistakes. Now get out there and make your first mistake." And I got out there and made 2 mistakes at the same time. We hate to admit that we made a mistake, right? And so in the real estate world, what happens is we end up keeping the house way longer than we should have, because if we got to get rid of it, then we're admitting to the world we made a mistake. But when you get out of that whole ego trip, you realize that I have to make a business decision, and I have to admit that I made a mistake. This was the wrong house to buy. This was the wrong move to make. Let me, what do they say? I forget the words. Let me cut it right. Stop the bleeding now.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Let me cut it right now. Stop the bleeding and recalibrate. And then move forward. Learn from those mistakes and move forward. It doesn't mean that you have to stop, right? Because guess what? If I stopped then, based on those 2 mistakes, I wouldn't be where I am today.
Right? Yeah. And that's the other part. The scary part is starting over. You've been with this person and you've been in this relationship for the X amount of years. And now it's like,
stop.
This is done with. And I got to come over here and I got to start over.
See, now you about to, I can't tell you how many times I had to start over. Reason why I don't have more in my portfolio now, because I've had to start over, start over. And in life, that's true. And those types of relationships is also true. Because again, when you go to church, we see the celebrations of, oh, sister such and such and Mrs. such and such, they've been married for 57 years. And we think, well, we got to be married for 57 years.
Right.
So we can't get a divorce, because if we get a divorce now, we got to start all over. Well, we've been married for 9.
Yeah.
And I don't mind it. We may never hit those 57 years.
No.
We may never hit that. And that's okay.
That's okay, because we're going to make the best of the years that God is going to keep us here together. But the whole point of this is not to dwell on.
I think we would have to be married for another 48 years.
Okay.
How old am I?
the whole part of this is not to dwell on the numbers that he's trying to add up over here. And it's not to dwell on the bad. The bad. It's not to dwell on the hardship. It's not to dwell on that. The whole point of this is making you guys aware that if you are dealing with this or have dealt with this and is still struggling to find the hope, is still struggling to find healing, is still struggling to find the transformation from brokenness to abundance, it can happen.
I'd be 102 years old.
Okay.
By the way,
All right. Okay. It can happen. It will happen. You have to trust God. You have to believe in yourself. First off, you got to love yourself. Mm-hmm. That was the other thing that's missing. It was a lot that was missing. And I know things are probably missing in your life. Mm-hmm. Like my father was missing. Mm-hmm. Him and my mother got divorced when we were young. But my dad didn't live in another state. He lived in another city, maybe 10, 15 minutes from us. Mm-hmm. But I never saw my dad. Mm. The relationship was gone, right? So that was missing. So I used the relationship to fill the missing void, right? Mm-hmm. So I know sometimes we do that, but the void is needs to be filled by you, not anybody else. It has to be filled by you. So I'm going to throw out some scriptures here because there's two that came to me that'll help with the healing part of it. 2 Corinthians 4, 8 and 9. Ooh, this print is small.
I told you.
Ooh, wait. Hold on, y'all, because I don't have my readers. 2 Corinthians 4, 8 and 9. We are hard pressed on every side, but not crushed, perplexed, but not in despair, persecuted, but not abandoned, struck down, but not destroyed. And this scripture reminds us that while pain and hardship may press against us, God's power sustains us. We are not destroyed. So we have to know the power, get to know the power that is within us to transform us, to strengthen us, to get away. And when you get away, then you can build yourself. You can build your self-esteem up. You can start knowing and recognizing who you are and the value of yourself. Another one is John 10:10. The thief comes only to steal and kill and destroy. I have come that they may have life and have it to the full. The other version says,
and have it more abundantly. This is one of the two scriptures that we built the Abundant Way Ministries.
Exactly. Exactly. So it says Jesus offers abundance, healing, peace, and restoration beyond the brokenness caused by violence and fear. So we have to remember that it's another scripture that says, that talks about strength. When I am weak,
you are strong.
Yeah. Thou art strong. That's how I think. Yeah.
Something like that.
Okay. Anyway, so there are a number of scriptures that can help with empowering, building yourself, giving you peace of mind, restoring yourself and restoring your life. Because when you go through something like domestic violence, you lose life. It's for some people it's so bad they don't want to live anymore. And we don't want people out there thinking that. But on top of the scriptures, I mean, there are so many resources out there and hotlines and shelters and ministry support resources. They're out there. We are working at becoming one of those because I am determined that I will have a home for women and children that goes through domestic violence.
We have one now, actually.
Well, it's not being used for their purpose right now, but I definitely will have. We're going to have one. The Abundant Way Ministry is going to be one of those ministries that help support and bring restoration and hope and transformation to women and children that are going through those situations. And I want to say this one last thing. No matter how deep the hurt or how heavy the burden, God's love meets us in the very place of our pain. He does not overlook our wounds. He binds them. Healing may not always be instant, but with every step we take in faith, He restores strength, dignity, and peace. Brokenness is not the end of our story. Abundance is.
I like it.
Yeah. And with that,
you know what? So, I think there's so much more that can be said. And I know I'm about to do you wrong. You know where I'm about to go. Since October is Domestic Violence Month, I think we should have at least one more session. I'm learning a lot. This is the quietest I've ever been.
Yeah, you guys know that, right? Thumbs up.
I'm learning a lot because we never really talk in detail about it, and you know I know that that's a hard conversation to have for some people. For some people, they don't want to open that can of worms,
right?
Open those wounds, relive those days. But I think there's so much that can be gained from your story and others' story. I would love if we can find someone else who is also willing to share their story or some wisdom on this subject. So if you're out there and you don't mind sharing your story, contact us. But I think maybe either next Tuesday or the Tuesday after that, maybe we do it again.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
I'll do some digging. I'm sure, and I say this, I'm sure I'll be able to find somebody, but that's really sad to say. I'm
going to tell you what's even sadder. You may be able to find somebody, but they don't want to share.
That's the other part.
Yeah. Because they're still scared.
Still embarrassed.
Or they may still be in it. So I get it. And it's one of those things that, we have to continue to find ways to help people even when they are afraid to ask. Yeah. Because it can be a scary situation. Here's one thing I do know, and then we're going to go. You've taught me this, that when you do have homes for victims of domestic violence, those homes have to be secure and confidential. Like nobody can know where that home is. That's how serious this situation is. Like, so if we did have a home, we couldn't tell nobody we got the home because nobody could know where that home is.
Exactly.
Because if the perpetrator then shows up at that home, everybody at that home's life is in danger. Right?
Yeah.
The part that I still struggle with is the going back. I get away, but then I go back. So maybe the next time we can talk about what makes people go back. All right. Well, excellent job. I felt like a real interviewer today.
I know.
Yeah.
This is not what we
Yeah.
did not discuss. We did not. I mean, it just turned into that, which really turned out to be
Pretty good. Yeah.
Better than, as we were doing this, I'm like, oh, this is like a Jamal Bryant podcast.
Let's be clear.
Let's be clear.
I'm a podcast interviewer now. Okay.
Yeah, you can be like Cam Newton. We wear all these crazy hats.
Yeah, where's my hat? With my Cam Newton.
Oh my gosh.
Switch it up on you.
Yeah.
Do this one. All right, ladies and gentlemen, back on the ranch. Okay.
Are you done?
I'm done now. I am done. Here's one thing I can say.
What's that?
Here's one thing that I used to always ask you when we got married.
What?
You still having fun?
I'm still having fun.
That's part of your restoration.
Yep, that's part of my restoration. Once I got a hold of what peace looked and felt like, I refused to let anything or anybody disrupt it. I'm when I say abundance, I am living in abundance, physically, mentally, spiritually, financially. That's huge.
I guess that's what I got this hat on for.
I guess the 10-gallon hat.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're gonna end it right here. 2 minutes before time. So, ladies and gentlemen, listen. Share this recording. Share the recording with someone you think may be able to benefit from something that was said.
Yes.
Tonight. We look forward to seeing you guys next Tuesday, where we'll probably pick this up again next Tuesday, or if not next Tuesday, the following Tuesday. But stay tuned, because we are talking about overcoming poverty, right? With stories of hope and transformation, and overcoming domestic violence is overcoming a part of poverty. So we want to be able to overcome poverty in every area of our life, not just financially, but in our relationships, in our health, in our mind, our self-esteem, in our spirits. So that's what we're doing in the month of October, and we're integrating it with the national theme for October, which is domestic violence awareness.
Yes.
So with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, we thank you for tuning in. We love you, and good night.
Good night, everybody.
Let's see now. Can we get some feeding the ducks?
Bye, y'all.